Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Insomniac Sports. You know who I am. Who's this beautiful face? This is my coworker and buddy Nick Jackham. He is joining me today and hopefully multiple times in the future. Nick, how's it going, buddy?
Great, you nailed the last name. I was kind of shocked. Like you had to ask me
I
like
listened.
4 times. This guy asked me like so many times at work how to pronounce my last name.
It's not because I don't know. It's because all of our coworkers always think it's Joaquim or Jackham is the one that was recent.
Yeah, the French version. I've never actually heard that one before. That was pretty.
So everybody, and I'm like, no, it's just Jackham, and they're like, how do you know? And I'm like, because I listen to the man.
Yeah, just you guys gotta ask me. Like it's not that crazy, right?
Right? No, it's not that hard at all. Like y'all see it in the lower third because we'll have lower thirds.
Oh, it's that kind of
Oh,
show.
we'll be dancing. Yeah, real simple. So it's that time of the year, March Madness. How bad is your bracket? Since I didn't get to do a preview because we recorded it and it turned out terrible, so I deleted it all. Sorry about you. How was that bracket of yours this year?
Horrible. Like the worst bracket I might have ever done in my entire life. I didn't really do a lot of research. Kind of just went into it cold because I don't know, just felt like doing it. And I had Ohio State in my Final Four. And I'm sure that everyone knows how that went. Like, that was terrible.
Oral Roberts. Keep it going.
I had Illinois winning it all.
Ooh.
Lost to
Always a
Loyola
bad
Chicago.
choice.
Yeah, well.
Always a bad
yeah.
choice. Birds, baby.
Yeah, and then I always like to throw like a sleeper team in there, like kind of shake it up. Threw BYU in there just because I saw one stat about BYU that like I was like, that's a Final Four team. They were 20-6. And they're like, oh, well, 3 of those losses are from Gonzaga. So it's just like, technically, they're a 20-3 team. I was like, man, that makes them one of the best teams in the country if you look at, like, record-wise. So it's just like, and they're only a 6 seed? I'm like, they're going to make it to the Final Four and then lose to Gonzaga. Gonzaga's my other team. So that's, working for me. But I'm at the bottom of all my bracket pools. So it's terrible. It's not good.
The only one I did that I have any stake in is the one at work. And I put that in. I watched the first round at work. T hit me and was like, "This is what you call work?" And I was like,
"It's March Madness. Like, come on!" Like,
make friends with your boss so they don't get mad at you for watching March Madness at work. She just laughed and walked away. I had all the faith in the world in Oklahoma State for some reason. And so I did 3 brackets. I normally just do a legit one where I think I do one with a bunch of upsets because why not? Yeah. And then one where Wisconsin wins it all because ISU never makes the tournament. So Wisconsin's my go-to. And the only time that one's ever worked out is in 14 and 15 when they went to the Final Four back-to-back years. But this year I did legit, semi-legit, and work. And 2 of those I had Oklahoma State winning it.
Oh, man.
Well, that didn't turn out. I thought Cunningham was going on a tear.
Well, he's the number 1 prospect. That's why I had him going on a run in mine, and it was just like, nah, like...
Nope. Decided to lose to... Who did they even lose to? Syracuse, was it?
Oklahoma State. No, Oregon State.
Oregon State, that's right. All those orange teams in that same...
They're just the same region. They're the same team.
Yeah, it's all the same team. The only team I think that I really have left, aside from Gonzaga... I have Baylor left to win the championship against Gonzaga.
I mean, that's still pretty good then. You can still call it. Well, you never know.
Not in the work one. That was in my semi-tried bracket, so we'll see what happens with that one. But not only is it March Madness, it is free agent frenzy in the NFL, and that is what our main topic today is going to be. So, Nick, I have this list of free agents here.
Okay.
Most of these have already signed. This was a list I started to put together before free agency started. ESPN had a top 100 list, and so I have the top 20 right here.
Okay.
Actually, I don't even think this is 20, but we're going to go...
Close enough.
Close enough. So, first one was Dak Prescott. They had thought he was going to go to the Panthers, but he stayed and re-signed with the Cowboys. Good pickup for them or no?
It's a great choice, because, think about it. You saw how they played last year once he got hurt. It was terrible. Poor Bears, they signed Andy Dalton. You saw how he played for the Cowboys. It was not good. I read that, some people are, optimistic about how Dalton is, because, they're like, oh, he's, the best quarterback they've ever seen. This guy had arguably the best receiving core in the league in Dallas. In CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Gallup, he has Zeke in the backfield. They have a pretty good O-line. and he just did terrible. So it's just like the fact that Dak Prescott can lead that team to like glory just shows you like how important, like, and how good he actually is. And I'm an Eagles fan, so like I'm being like honest here. Like
Being sacrilegious.
he's very good. So it was a great deal by them. Like I can't believe they just didn't do it sooner because like that was kind of they were messing with him like with the franchise tag. Just sign the guy like, and at least now that they have the proof in the pudding, just like they saw how bad they did without him. Like this guy is really good. He's the real deal. I loved him out of Mississippi State. I was so mad when the Cowboys drafted him.
I was surprised that they haven't signed him earlier because knowing that the cap was going to drop this year and all of those cap casualties of guys getting cut that 100% should not be cut and be on that same team still, but for the sake of cap space, got to cut them. I figured that would be a tough decision this year for the Cowboys whether or not to keep Dak or not. Kind of surprised that they signed him such a big deal this year and not last year or the year before, or tried another 1 year deal and like, hey, next year when the cap goes back up, we'll give you a ton of money, but whatever.
I think after the injury and like what they saw from like without him, they were just like, we just got to like lock this guy up. Like he's earned it. Like I think so.
And where they're at in the draft, or the draft order this year, they're not going to hit on one of those top guys. So you might as well just go ahead and lock up the guy that knows the system. He's been there. He knows what's up. Just roll with it.
They're going to be. I think they're going to be much better as long as he comes back. Like that was obviously a crazy leg injury he had. Like if he comes back playing like that, the level he was like, there's a good chance they just win the whole division. They're actually like contending in the NFC.
All right, so the top offensive lineman that was in free agency, not anymore, Trent Williams. They thought he was going to go to the Jaguars because they thought Urban Meyer might want to beef up that offensive line for when they draft Trevor Lawrence, but he decided to stay in San Francisco. Good idea or not?
It's a great idea. He's because at least from like what I've seen like throughout these years, like tackles like even though they get older, like they still play pretty well. Like just lock up the guy. He's arguably the best left tackle in the league. Like, and they were like big on like the Shanahan running game and everything. Like just if you need a good O line for that, obviously. Like
that was their key to the Super Bowl a few years ago.
Exactly. So just like and watch it, they just lost. What's his face? I think Coleman just signed with like the Jets.
Yeah, he signed with the Jets today.
So like, well, I'm curious to see what their running back team is going to look like next year, and I feel like they need a quarterback. Just off topic, I don't like Garoppolo. I think he's bad. But, like, that guy's a really good tackle, so it's worth the money.
Alex Smith returned to San Francisco?
Oh, my God. That'd be wild, right? Like,
all right, so then the top defensive lineman, Leonard Williams, he decided to stay in New York for another year as well. I believe his deal is like 2 years maybe. Good decision for the Giants. Already a terrible decision for the Jets when they traded him after his first year.
Yeah, so a great decision for the Giants. Like the only thing that stinks though is that they basically had to choose between. I mean, I think they chose the better player. They had to choose between him and Dalvin Tomlinson. But you know, like Williams, they were on like a 3-4. Like he's actually going to be on the line more often than the nose tackle. But I thought it was a good deal. Like Williams is really good. I'm curious. I still don't understand why the Jets got rid of him. I mean, it's the Jets. What can I say?
It's the Jets.
That's the answer.
Another one of the top offensive linemen, Brandon Scherf, he decided to stay in Washington. Side note to that, Washington has announced that they might stick with the name the Washington Football Team.
Which is so stupid.
Because fans thought it was funny. I don't know how that makes any sense, but...
I can promise you, my dad's fierce. My dad's a diehard Washington fan, like his whole life. And he will be furious if that's the case. Like he'll just disown the team at that point. I don't even know what he's rooting for now. I think he wants like the Warriors, which I think just sounds stupid, the Washington Warriors, but like I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's terrible to stick with the Washington Football Team.
They've got a lot of options, but one of their options was franchising Scherf, and I think that's a great thing for them to keep that O-line intact.
Yeah. They arguably have like, at least on the defensive side, they have arguably a top 5 defense, I think, now. Which I'm sure, I don't know if you have William Jackson on that list at all, but hopping ahead a little bit potentially.
I don't think so.
He's really good. I like him a lot. Like he's one. They have like him and Fuller, and then their D line is just incredible. Like they're a team to mess with. Like they're really good. And then like now locking up the O line, and like they signed Curtis Samuel too. he might be on that list.
Yeah, he is. I know he is.
That's a good team. I'm just curious to see what they do at quarterback now. 'Cause whoever is going to be their quarterback, well, Fitz.
Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. I guarantee you they draft a guy. Just protect them. Like Scherf's one of the best guards in the league. It's a great move.
So I was surprised to see that the Chargers let Hunter Henry walk. And a lot of people thought he would go to Indianapolis because that's just kind of the thing they like to do is have really good tight ends. But he went to another team that likes to have really good tight ends
They really
in
like
New
to have
England.
good tight ends. I don't know why they would get rid of him. I don't know what their problem was. Just like it's a perfect safety net for a young quarterback like Hunter Henry. And now he's going to be Tim and Jonnu Smith
Yeah.
for the Patriots, which is they're trying to recreate the Gronk and Hernandez thing, which is
Yep.
weird to think. But like they've spent so much money, the Patriots in free agency. Like we just talk about that real quick because like normally like when you see a team doing that, it's just like it's normally like like a Jaguars or the Jets or something. You're just like, they're just throwing money at the wall, like they don't know. But like because it's Belichick and the Patriots, it's just like, oh yeah, he knows what he's doing. They're
totally
smart.
different situation.
Which is like, and I feel that way too because like normally I'd just be like, it's a bad team with a lot of money, just sign a bunch of guys hoping it works. Like, but like when the Patriots are doing it because they never do this, it's just like, oh, Bill's got something up his sleeve. Like it's just like.
You would think.
Right?
We'll see. If they have the Cam of 2020, it may not work out so well.
Oh, yeah.
If he can get an entire offseason and do it well, they might do all right.
Well, it's only a 1-year deal. You think they'd draft a guy?
They could.
I'd be curious to see.
'Cause they do still have Jarrett Stidham, too, but that doesn't seem to be... They're not giving him the opportunity.
I don't even think he's an option anymore.
Probably not. He's just trade bait. Or as a second-string quarterback, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. He's just not good.
So then, Yannick Ngakoue, he's been bouncing around like crazy in the last, year and a half.
Yeah, seriously.
I thought he was going to stick in Baltimore because him and Calais Campbell already worked in Jacksonville. They somehow got it together again in Baltimore. I thought he would stay, but he instead is going to Vegas.
It's an interesting move. I don't know. He's a good... I think Judon kind of stole the spotlight there for Baltimore. Like, he was great. He's going with the Patriots, obviously, now. I'm shocked the Ravens wouldn't keep him around. Like, if you're losing two of your best, edge rushers at that point, just, shouldn't you, keep at least one of them around? Like, they just lost both of them. But I don't know the cap situation there very well, but...
The cap situation's screwing a lot of teams this year.
They just got to move on from their edge rushers. It's just...
It's definitely a good pickup for the Raiders, though, because their defense was definitely a liability for them last year.
Yeah.
That lost them several games, and it was very obvious. All right, so then linebacker Bud Dupree was phenomenal in Pittsburgh. He did have an injury this last year, so I think that was part of the reason they let him go. He's on to Tennessee, and that was one of their big needs, was a pass rusher.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
No, that was a great idea instead of bringing back Clowney for another 1-year deal. And Clowney really didn't do much of anything there. So it's just now they get a guy, I know he's coming off the injury, but if he can just do whatever, anything close to what he was in Pittsburgh before the injury, just really good edge rusher. Definitely an upgrade over Clowney, who I don't even know where that guy's going to sign now.
He's just floating around right now.
Just signing 1-year deals year after year, just bouncing. Literally, that guy's bouncing around.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just curious. I don't know where he's gonna go. I heard he's talking to Miami, but who knows at this point?
Where does he want to go to make a bunch of money and just relax?
Just for 1 year and just
Miami.
kind of do his own thing.
Miami wouldn't be bad. Just chilling on the beach, show up for work every now and then.
That'd be nice.
One of the top wide receivers in this free agency pool was Kenny Galladay. A lot of people thought maybe he would follow Stafford to Los Angeles when he got traded. But instead, he's going to the Giants, who desperately need receivers.
Yes. And they're kind of revamping that entire offense, which is pretty crazy. If at this point, if Daniel Jones can't put it together, this is the year to do it. Saquon's coming back off that ACL injury. Curious to see how he looks after that, but it's Saquon Barkley. Arguably top 2-3 running back in the league. He's so good.
His legs are big enough. I'm surprised his
quads are
ACL
huge.
tore in the first place.
And then they got Galladay, John Ross. They just signed him a 1-year deal. I know he was not too great in Cincinnati, but he's still a top 10 receiver. You never know with that guy. And it was only a 1-year, $2 million deal, just worth the risk. They got Slayton, who was great for them last year. Sterling Shepard. They brought in Kyle Rudolph. They got Evan Ingram. Like, what more do you need? Like, that is
They
just,
should have a pretty good offense.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if Daniel Jones can't put it together now, he's just not the quarterback. Like, this is
Not
the
the
year to
guy.
prove it for them.
So then Justin Simmons, safety for the Broncos, he decided to come back to Denver on a defense that, well, an entire team that we really don't know what to expect out of them. But I think this is good keeping some, I don't want to say like high points of the team because there aren't too many, but
Well, that
one
is
of the better
definitely
points.
that is the arguably one of the highest points of the team at this point.
Yeah.
And why would you not try to keep that guy around? Which would be ridiculous because honestly, there's not many other bright spots on that team right now. Like, he was
No.
a really good safety, and like I think he might even be like their best player right now. Because I'm trying to think, like, obviously Von Miller, but like he's kind of been down the past like couple of years.
Yeah, well,
So-
we've seen a lot of Bradley Chubb being hurt, and
Yeah.
so that frees up more guys to double team Von Miller a lot.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. Like, I can't think of like anyone else in the team that's like better than him. So like they did lock up their best player. Like, it's just like that's what you want. It's a good move by
So
them.
good move by them. Not so good a move, at least for Allen Robinson. People thought he might be going to Washington, but he took a franchise tag to stay in Chicago, who at the time didn't even know who their quarterback was going to be. Now it's Andy Dalton, who's probably going to get him the ball a little bit more than previous guys.
Well,
but
I don't know. It's that Chicago situation's just messy. Like, I got a few friends who are Bears fans who are just furious about the whole situation. Like, they're really pissed about
oh yeah,
Andy Dalton being there. So it's and like because they made the playoffs, they're out of contention for a quarterback now. So it's just like, and if they do draft one, it might be Mac Jones out of Alabama. I don't know how I feel about him, but
I saw an article today that said, "Is Mac Jones' athleticism going to make him fall in the draft?" And I was like, "That's what you're worried about? Dude can sit back in the pocket and drop dimes all day, but you're worried about if he can run around and pick up first downs for you. Are you worried about that with Tom Brady? Are you worried about that with Phillip Rivers before he retired? Drew Brees? Like,
that's just the way the NFL's going now. You need to be able to do like a
it
little bit of other
definitely
stuff.
is, but you still have those guys that can just get it done
That's what
without
you need.
the mobility, or at least as much mobility.
See, like that's one of the things I like about Aaron Rodgers a lot. He can run, but he just doesn't. He's a pass first. He'll run if he has to. Like Mahomes does the same thing, where it's just like, yeah, the guy's mobile, like kinda like. It's not like Lamar Jackson out there. I'm not saying like
Right, yeah.
he's like Lamar, Kyler, like even Josh Allen. It's just like they're throw first. They sit in the pocket, but like they know like they can scramble. I think that's what they're worried about. Jones is just like guy can't really scramble. He's just like a statue, just sitting there, just like big dude.
It worked out. It got him a natty,
Yeah,
so
it did.
we'll see. Next on the list was Jonnu Smith. We already talked about that a little bit. Going to
Patriots.
New England, rebuilding the Gronk Hernandez idea. So that one will work out. Pass rusher Trey Hendrickson to the Bengals. I honestly didn't think he would be that big of a name come free
Seriously,
agency, but he did make himself fairly well known from the Saints.
It was just like an under the radar sign, and like they needed an edge rusher. That guy was pretty good last year. Like, just one of the people don't really talk about him. Like that Saints defense was always like okay. Like he's
They
one of the
were
bright
really
spots,
good last year.
and he's one of the bright spots from that. So just like going over to Cincinnati, like I really didn't think he was gonna be a big name in free agency. Like you said, like it's kind of weird, but hey, worked out pretty well for him. He's getting paid a lot of money now.
He's getting paid a lot of money on an up and coming team.
There you go. As long as Burrow turns it around, like I'm curious to see how he looks coming back from that injury too.
I think he'll be just fine, but we'll have to wait and see if they get an offensive line for him or
Oh,
not.
yeah, they need an offensive line and they need receivers now. They lost AJ
Yeah.
Green. I mean, they still have Tyler Boyd.
And T. Higgins.
I'm curious to see like T. Higgins. It'd be interesting to see if they brought back Jamar Chase, like match them up again. Like that'd be pretty cool.
I don't think they will because I think 99.9% of mock drafts and Bengals officials have said that they're going to take Penei Sewell.
If he falls to him.
Well, they have like the 4th pick, I think?
Yeah, they had the 5th pick.
5th pick.
Yeah.
So, should be right there. I don't think anybody else in that top 4 is going to be taking an offensive lineman. All right, so Super Bowl champion Chris Godwin, he probably could have taken a lot of money somewhere else, but he decided to get tagged and stay in Tampa.
Great move. And like that actually they've been keeping everybody. Like the Bucks, like they're not even going out and signing new guys. They're just like, yeah, let's just keep everybody. They've re-signed him, Shaq Barrett, Gronk. Brady restructured his contract. They just signed Sudo a 1-year deal. They're just keeping everyone. Like they're just
It works.
They're sticking to it. They said like let's run it back, and like they're actually doing it. Like everyone's coming back, and like they're so excited about it. Like that's so crazy. Like you never really see teams do that very often. And like the guys are serious about it. Like they're not taking like top of the market like prices. Like they're just taking what they can get. They're just like, let's run this back. We're gonna do this.
Another guy that's running it back and not taking all the money he can get is Aaron Jones returning to Green Bay.
Yeah, how about that?
Personally, I think it's awesome by him to do that because he could have gone to like Miami or something and made a ton of money, but he decided to stay with the winning team. I think it's a great idea.
I thought it was too. The only thing I was just curious about is just like, now what's the point of like when AJ Dillon? You guys drafted him in the second round.
Hey, 1-2 punch.
1-2 punch.
Because they lost Jamal Williams, which
that is true
sad.
actually. Yeah.
That dude is so fun, but sacrifices must be made in a cap year.
That's fair. That's how it is. I mean, that's a big signing because he was probably one of the focal points of your offense. Like maybe the focal point. Like he was just like tearing it up this year. He was so good.
If he wasn't running it, he was catching it and making moves, and he's hard to tackle. He's a slippery guy.
He's a good player.
Mm-hmm. All right, and you had already mentioned Shaq Barrett going back to Tampa. Good for them, keeping it all together. Taylor Moton, the offensive lineman for the Panthers, is expected to get franchise tagged, but could still pick up an offer somewhere else.
Might as well stick there. I mean, same thing. Like I think we talked about this earlier. Just like, why not just take the franchise tag in this like cap year, play really well because like he's a very good offensive lineman. Make your money next year because like I don't know how much the cap's gonna go up, but it's gonna be a lot more than this year after this pandemic.
$68 million is what it's supposed to go up.
Yeah, sign your 1-year deal. Play it on the franchise tag. Come back next year, you'll make bank. You'll be fine.
Might as well. Let's see. Corey Linsley, I was sad to see him go down to the Chargers. A lot of people were thinking he was going to go to the Jets to help them bolster that offensive line, but down to LA to be the guy for Justin Herbert now.
It's a good choice by them. He's a very good center, and LA is one of those teams on the up now. Herbert's just fun to watch. Like that team's going to be a problem for a while. Now he's got arguably a top 5 center in the league for the next 5 years. Like that's huge for him. That's going to just make all the difference.
And then another that we had partially mentioned, Levante David, staying in Tampa again for another year.
Yes, that's another guy. We didn't mention that one.
And then Joe Thuney, a lot of people thought Bengals would pursue him real hard. He decides to go to Kansas City. So he's looking for a ring.
No, I don't blame him. And they good on them finally. Like after like that Super Bowl,
that was sad.
Hard to watch.
Yeah.
Now they're actually just addressing the offensive line situation, which is huge, which is crazy. Kyle Long comes out of retirement too.
Yeah.
To join. Now he's going to be a guard. They've just signed 2 really good. Well, we'll see how Kyle Long looks coming out of a year off retirement, but 2 arguably very good offensive linemen just boosting that O-line now, like for Mahomes. Like they're really committing to that because that was. They got exposed in the Super Bowl. It was hard to watch.
Yeah. If they have an offensive line in that game, I think it's a lot closer.
Definitely.
If not a win, but a lot closer.
Yeah, because JPP and Shaq Barrett were just teeing off.
It was hard to watch. AJ Green going down to the Cardinals.
How about that? Like that's such a crazy.
The Cardinals are now the team apparently.
Such a crazy receiving core. Like they got D-Hop. Fitz is coming back for what year? 50? Just like that guy.
If he comes back, I don't think he's said if he's coming back yet or not.
I thought he would. I don't see why.
I'm sure he probably will.
Yeah, he probably will at this point. Especially with like this receiving core, because like doesn't have to be in all the time. Like can rest, get a couple snaps off. Like D-Hop, AJ Green, potentially Larry Fitz, Christian Kirk. Like What I'm curious about is what they're doing at running back now for Murray.
Yeah, after Kenyon Drake left.
Yeah, the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what they're going to do there at running back.
I was thinking about that earlier, and another guy I have on here, a little farther down, is James Conner from Pittsburgh.
Oh,
He's a free agent this year. If I'm Arizona, I'm at least looking into it.
Yeah.
Might do it.
Another like 1 year deal potentially kind of thing. Like
Yeah, 1 or 2 year deal. Maybe draft a guy too.
Ooh, I was talking to my friend about that. He's a big Jets fan, and I said like, oh, what, they should get like a Najee Harris or something, just like a big back, do his thing, and like all Jets fans they want Najee because it's like second round pick or like their first round pick, which is like 23 or something.
Mm-hmm.
All my friends and like people I know who are Jets fans, because I'm from New Jersey, they all want Najee Harris so bad. They just think he's like, just get them a running back after like they got spurned by Lev. Like he was just, Le'Veon Bell was terrible for them. But like now I'm curious to see if they will do that because they just signed Tevin Coleman. So like it's not like a specific need, but like I don't know, Coleman was more of a rotation back in the Niners. But like actually everyone was like a rotation back for the Niners.
Yeah. And Bell is another guy that's out there floating around right now. That could be interesting if he's still... He didn't look like a good runner the past 2 years with the Jets and the Chiefs, but he can still catch out of the backfield, it seems.
Yeah.
So that could be a potential for Arizona as
That'd be another thing where like maybe draft a guy and then bring in Lev too, just like kind of do the rotation thing again. Like that'd be a great 1-2 punch. Just like I think that's where Lev's at. It's just like he's not going to be Steelers Le'Veon Bell where he's just like leading the team. He's a bell cow, but he's a very, very good rotation back. So it's just bringing him and another guy in, like that's a pretty solid running back group.
Another guy from the Steelers that is still a free agent, haven't really heard a whole lot about him, Alejandro Villanueva. I think he's a pretty good offensive lineman. Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's like 6'7", but he's like 32 now. So that's what I was just talking about before with Trent Williams. Just like these tackles, like they can go further into their career. Like I'm sure he'll get like a same deal, like another. It seems like where the market's going is like 1-2 year deals.
Yeah. And
he'll just still be starting somewhere. I just don't really know where he would go. It's hard to gauge where like who's spending now because like it was kind of like that first wave, and now it's just been like sporadic. It's like random. It's just like there's not even like any clue on like who's interested in what guy anymore. It's just like a team becomes interested in a guy and he just signs like a 1 year deal with them. It's just like how it's been going lately.
I put down the Chargers for him. Just he gets out of the elements because I'm sure it's. I know because I played in the elements in high school at least. But get out of the elements in Pittsburgh. Go to the sunny shores of LA.
Pretty nice.
Help out an offensive line that needs help, as well as having a really good second-year quarterback. That could be a good one. And then staying with the Steelers theme, Juju thought he was going to possibly go somewhere, but he is staying in Pittsburgh.
He's doing the smart thing. Like that actually, like most of these receivers should be doing. He sounds like a 1 year, $8 million deal. And like I saw that he was like in talks with like other teams, like potentially like I think like the Ravens and like the Jets, like offered him like a 1-2 year deal or whatever. And he was just like, if you're going to be doing that anyway, just like go back to the team. Like you know how this is going to go. Like 1 more year with the Steelers, like what's the harm?
Nope,
and then sign your big deal next
year.
Yeah, definitely with this cap situation. We keep talking about that, but
it's such a terrible thing.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's just so annoying. But at least that means next year's gonna be exciting in free agency.
Yeah, there'll probably be quite a few big deals next year.
Definitely.
Let's see. We talked about Curtis Samuel a little bit going to the Washington football team. That could be a scary receiving core, like we already talked about.
Him and Terry McLaurin, like they were saying, like from Ohio State, like they wanted to be NFL teammates one day in the future, and it's happening now. And that team, like Antonio Gibson, rookie last year, running back for them, like he was pretty good. I'm just curious to see what's going to happen with the quarterback situation. It's going to be Fitz, Heineke, or they draft a guy like they're like it's a threat. Like I mean, Fitz can get it done. It's just they have a really good defense, some solid weapons like around them. Just like that's a team to look out for, especially in that terrible NFC East division.
Go 8-8 and you'll go to the playoffs.
It seems like everyone's getting better. Like with Dak coming back, Cowboys I'm sure will be better. Giants are loading up. Washington, they've got a great defense. Curtis Samuel changing up the quarterback spot. And then there's the Eagles. I don't know what the deal is there. So let's not harp on that one too much.
Another wide receiver, Will Fuller, going to the Dolphins.
Another 1 year deal.
Another 1-year deal.
It's a great move.
Prove it year.
Yes, especially after the PEDs, and that guy always gets hurt too. So it's just.
Oh my gosh. Last year they kept talking about how Green Bay was going to sign Will Fuller like halfway through the year or trade for him. And I'm like, please don't. He's going to play like 2 games, have like 100 yards in each, and then like I don't know, tear his Achilles or something.
Yeah, seriously, it's a
And
good
it's not
bet
worth
for a 1-year prove it deal. Give Tua like a really good weapon if he can stay healthy, and stay off the drugs. Like, then this guy's really good. He's a potential like actual number 1 receiver. Like that's a great addition for them. Well, potentially, obviously, a lot of asterisks there. Like.
Then another one that I thought Green Bay might go after but didn't because they have absolutely no cap space. Patrick Peterson going to the Vikings.
Yeah, that's actually a crazy move. I thought like the Cardinals would hold on to him for sure. He seemed like a franchise player, but they have Byron Murphy signed. Obviously they're spending their money on AJ Green instead, a different vet. But Peterson, it's a good sign by the Vikings. Like he's still like he's not like the same Patrick Peterson from like his rookie contract when he was.
Oh man, when he was so good.
So good, like top 5 corner in the league. But he's still a very good cornerback. So
he's solid.
Very solid. So like that's a good signing by them. He'll be good.
And edge rusher Leonard Floyd decided to stay in LA. He got a 4-year deal after spending several years with the Bears and getting trashed on all the time. And then getting made silly by Aaron Rodgers at the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of surprised by the 4-year deal, but I think it's good for the Rams, especially with some of the turmoil they have going on right there of getting their quarterback out of there and getting a new guy in and picking up these new pieces.
Just a little consistency, because that's something they've actually been not very good with. It's just like they're always just bringing in new guys and just like just throwing these guys in the locker room hoping it works. Like now they got a little consistency on the D line, like him and Donald. Like it's actually a smart move if you think about it that way. But I don't know. Consistency is one thing, but like if the guy's not producing, like so we'll see.
A name that has been lost a little bit since his first 2 or 3 years in the league, and quite a name it is, Chidobe Awuzie. He is moving on from the Cowboys, and he signed with the Bengals.
It's an alright signing. I mean, he was alright for the Cowboys. What they brought him in for, obviously, is because William Jackson's moving to...
Alright, so now we're on to Marvin Jones, who signed with the Jaguars, another weapon for potential Trevor Lawrence.
Potential Trevor. If they don't draft Trevor Lawrence, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Then they're dumb. But I mean, some people think maybe Urban will pull some Ohio State magic and
bring in Justin Fields
out of nowhere.
God, that would... What a black mark that'd be on his coaching career right off the bat. Unless at that point Justin Fields has to win multiple Super Bowls. That's the only way it justifies that move.
Comes in and it's like, oh, well, to knock a year off your coaching right there.
The best quarterback prospects is Andrew Luck to come out. No, I don't want him.
Yeah, I don't want that guy. But he'll have a wide receiver that's pretty decent when he gets there.
Oh, Marvin Jones. That's a very reliable receiver. Great for Stafford all these years.
Oh, yeah. Next, we got Richard Sherman, who still hasn't signed anywhere. But can you trust him?
I mean, how old's injury? The guy, 33?
He's getting up there. He's had a few injuries. Few speculations are saying he might go to the Jets, which I think would be a weird turn of events for him.
At this point, why? If you're you don't even need him to really I mean, I don't know how much you're going to have to pay him, but why not? If you're a Super Bowl contending team with some young secondary guys, just bring him in. He's a perfect leader. The guy's a genius. Apparently, he had a 4.0 at Stanford or something. Arguably one of the best corners of all time. Just bring him in. He'll just teach these guys. He's a good mentor. If you have a young cornerback room, young secondary room, bring him in. If you just a 1-year deal. That's the theme anyway. Just what's a 1-year deal gonna do? Just bring this guy in. You don't need him to start. Just a rotation guy, maybe as the nickel guy coming in. That's all you need.
Maybe even rotate to safety like Charles Woodson did in his latter years.
That'd be an interesting move because he's big enough. He could probably play in the box potentially.
Yeah. A guy that probably is not going to do a whole lot of teaching, nor is he getting a very warm welcome at all. Andy Dalton.
Very not warm welcome.
The
freezing cold welcome.
The ceiling of where Bears fans thought they were going to be with their quarterback was so funny. It went from Trubisky to we're going to trade for Deshaun Watson to we're not going to get Watson, but we're going to get Russell Wilson and Andy Dalton. I love it.
I think it's hilarious too. It's like, oh, you got Andy Dalton. If not, we got Nick Foles. I hear they might be going to trade Nick Foles anyway, potentially.
Could be a trade piece.
But, and then, I don't know if they draft a guy or not, but Andy Dalton in Chicago. It's going to be interesting because he was not good for the Cowboys this year, so.
Who knows what they'll end up getting. I mean, he's already statistically the best Bears quarterback ever, and he hasn't played it down for him. So
isn't that sad?
that is, oh my gosh. When I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? And then I looked and I was like, okay, it's legit. Wow, okay.
I've read stuff that's just like, hey, he led the Bengals to the playoffs 5 different seasons. Just like, this guy's no joke. It's just like, yeah, but come on. Did he win any playoff games? I don't think he did.
If he did, it was 1, and nobody remembers it.
I don't remember.
It's a random wild card game. Cam Newton going back to the Patriots on a 1-year deal. After how bad he played last year, I was kind of surprised they brought him back.
I mean, thinking about it, where they are in the drafts and everything, and they're looking at the quarterback market when the best option besides him is Andy Dalton. I mean, why not bring him back for another 1-year deal and run it back? Now potentially, maybe draft a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round, and then I don't know who the quarterbacks in free agency are next year, but maybe just bank on that. But looking at the market and what was available at quarterback, it was technically the best quarterback available. So
it's true. I've been hearing a lot of chatter of Mac Jones to the Patriots.
That'd be an interesting move.
We'll see. Well, Antonio Brown still unsigned, but it has been mentioned that the Bucks might bring him back at the right price.
For a 1-year, same thing, just a 1-year deal. Just why not run it back with everybody? To have him as your 3 receiver, I don't even know 4 receiver maybe because Scotty Miller, that guy was awesome last year. But why not? 1-year deal, because I don't think anyone else is gonna sign him because he's kind of just a crazy person.
Yeah, that is true. Jadeveon Clowney, we touched on a little bit. He's floating around out there in the market. Another probably 1-year deal somewhere.
I feel like the rest of these guys are all going to be 1-year deals. I don't think anyone else that you nailed names. Yeah. It's probably going to all be 1-year deals with the cap situation. And I just don't know who's even going to sign with this guy. I saw he was talking to Miami, but I mean, there's been no indication other than that anyone was interested in him, which is crazy because he was this highly touted prospect coming out of college, and he's been pretty solid his whole career. It's just, I don't know, he just doesn't seem like he's fitting anywhere.
True. Then we have Bitcoin master Russell Okung. Does he even need to play anywhere? I mean, he's got all this Bitcoin now. Dude's got so much money out of that Bitcoin thing now. They did the math for if he were to sell all of his Bitcoin right now, because he got, if you don't know, he converted half of his last contract all into Bitcoin, and if he were to cash that in right now, he would be the highest paid offensive lineman in the league.
That's so crazy to think. It's such a wild move. Just can you have it in Bitcoin?
It worked out for him.
It worked very well.
Yeah, so he probably doesn't even need to play anymore.
No, and the Seahawks should just bring him back. If they're honestly not trying to mend this Russell Wilson relationship, just bring back some alignment. What do you bring back him? Sign some guys. It doesn't seem like they're really doing much to help him out. For us,
that's gonna be a struggle bus for Seattle.
Oh yeah.
T.Y. Hilton just signed today back with the Colts, and I think that's a great signing for them.
Yeah, they needed receiver help. Give Carson a reliable receiver to look at. Good old Carson Wentz.
We thought the city of Bismarck was going to burn up in flames. Philly got rid of him. Then we have Malcolm Butler, who honestly I think is a average corner, but he gets so much love for the Super Bowl pick, and hasn't really done anything since. But he's out there floating around now.
He's known for that, and then for getting benched in the Super Bowl they lost to the Eagles. Just before the game even starts, just that guy's just not playing.
Yeah.
their best corner. Like, I don't know why, but
So he's out there floating
Another
around.
floater, yeah.
Anybody needs a corner should go for him. Sammy Watkins has visited with the Colts and the Ravens. The Ravens have said numerous times they want to bring in another wide receiver for Lamar Jackson, and they have yet to do so. And there's been, literally just looking right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers that they could bring in, and they haven't done anybody.
yeah. But looking at the rest of the list, like, he's probably the best receiver that's left. Like, there's not many guys left. I mean, maybe Fitz could put up an argument that he's better. That Fitz is better.
Yeah, but I
like,
think
Fitz is also, if he's not retiring, he's coming back to Arizona.
Arizona, yeah, he's not going anywhere other than Arizona ever.
It'd be weird. Like, you just can't even imagine that at this point. Like, especially, how old is he now? Like 37.
He's up there.
Yeah, he's
pushing
too
it.
old.
And then we talked about Alex Smith a little bit. We talked about Connor, Le'Veon Bell. Another corner that I think's really good just because he played for my team for 4 years is Casey Hayward. And he's played really well for the Chargers, too.
Yeah, he was very
so
good for
I'm
the
surprised
Chargers.
he hasn't been signed yet.
That's probably just another situation. He's an older guy. It's just waiting for like the right opportunity. We keep saying this, but it's gonna probably be like a 1-year deal again.
Yeah. Well, like you said, everybody else that's not left on this list. AJ Bouye is next, and I was surprised that Denver let him go. Yeah, he was one of their, like when they got him from Houston, they were like, "Yep, this is one of our shutdown lock it up corners."
Yeah, but he just didn't get it done like that. It's just, I think what helps AJ become like what everyone thought he was supposed to. He was playing opposite of Jalen Ramsey for like a couple of years, so it's just like not a lot of attention on him. It's just like, oh, they got Jalen. Like, it's just, it helped elevate his game. And now when he was like, oh yeah, like you're supposed to be the number one guy, it just didn't work out. Like, and you've seen that numerous times.
Goodbye, spam call. And then Fitzgerald, we've talked about a couple times now. Yeah. Eric Fisher, former first overall pick, let go by the Chiefs. That's another offensive lineman that like was pretty good, but I don't necessarily would say he lived up to his first overall pick.
Not the first overall pick. If you're the first overall pick, you're supposed to be
Hall of Fame guaranteed.
Generational tackle like that, just great your entire time. But like he just never really got to that point. So it's just,
it'll be interesting to see wherever he does sign how much money he makes, because I don't think he's gonna get top dollar for his talents. But like, what's that middle ground look like? What does that look like?
It's starter money, because he's definitely going to be starting somewhere. I don't think he's going to sign anywhere and be a backup, but
highly unlikely.
Yeah.
And then we're going to finish it out with wide receivers. Kenny Stills. I don't even know where he might even.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I don't know where any of these last three that you're about to name. Like, I don't know where any of them sign. Like, it's just.
Kenny Stills. That's one of those ones. It's like, if you need a wide receiver, go ahead.
Yeah.
Demir Bird's the next one on the list. I think he might just go back to the Patriots on like a 1-year cheap deal.
I was going to say, they just signed 2 receivers, the Patriots. They signed Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
To like 2 3-4 year deals. So like he might just be out, and he was like a solid.
He was their statistically best receiver last year. So we'll see. Wherever he goes, he's not going to be the best receiver on the team.
No, he's definitely not going to be.
He'll probably be the 4th string,
probably.
Wherever he goes, 3rd or 4th string.
Yeah.
Might have to return kicks.
Yeah, he's not going to be that number one guy. But that Patriots offense was just very.
And then to end it off, last on this list, leaving Philadelphia finally, Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, it's about time we got out of there. Let's be honest.
I think he's just about done. I think if he doesn't retire after this, he's gonna have maybe 1 or 2 years, and he's not really gonna do a whole lot.
No, it's gonna be same situation like we were just saying, Fitzgerald before, like 3rd, 4th receiver on a team. He'll probably get in like a few snaps every once in a while, just like make like one crazy catch over like a corner's head.
That veteran possession guy that you bring in on 3rd down because you know he'll stand there in a spot and
catch the ball. Like that's it. That's all he's got to do. That's all he's got to do. I mean, he's still got the hops. Like he just jumps up and just like makes some crazy catches over guys, but just can't stay healthy. Well, we'll see if he can stay healthy this time around.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he's about done, and we're about done. So we're gonna wrap it up on that. And you had mentioned NFL draft, so we'll have to pick up on that. He's already ahead of me thinking about mock drafts and stuff.
Oh
so
yeah, my friends and I always do a pool, man. It's so much fun.
we'll have to think of something for that for this. So Nick, thanks for joining me today,
Thanks for
man.
having me on.
Have to have you back here
Definitely, I'm done.
multiple times in the future. So thanks again, guys. Catch us next time.